Hey, how's it going? We're back at it with another episode of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. That's Bill Althouse. I'm Tony Stevens. Brought to you by Sandy's in Blue Springs, one of the great restaurants in eastern Jackson County. They're known for healthy home-style, delicious meals, all-day breakfast, huge portions. SandysBlueSprings.com. We're actually, our next podcast, I do want to mention this before we get started, will be a live show on June 7th, on Sunday, June the 7th, live from Sandy's, because there is going to be a big event here that we want you to come to. It's the Barbecue Car Show and Food Drive, a kickoff of their summer lunch program. June 7th at Sandy's. We will get underway at 4 o'clock. They ask for a donation. You don't have to give one, but and you could give a monetary donation. Better yet, you can bring canned goods, even individually wrapped chips or snacks, stuff like that. And that will go toward the You Matter movement, and that is the Barbecue Car Show and Food Drive, live podcast on Sunday, June 7th. And all of our full podcast episodes are on YouTube and Spotify. You can hook up with us and watch the reels on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to comment, share. A very special guest with us on the show today, right here in the studio, the newly elected mayor of Independence, Missouri, Kevin King. So that will be on today's show. Let's get going with the sports hot topics like we start every week. It's brought to you by Over the Top Roofing, locally owned by Mark Sandridge for over 20 years. 816-678-4002. Any roofing needs. Let's start with the Royals. This won't take long. No. Things are not going good. Just every week we say, well, you said, can this get any worse?
It can. I know.
Bill, they don't score any runs. I don't understand it.
That Yankee series, one run for the Royals, I believe the Yankees scored 27 in a 3-game series.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
And they haven't scored very many since.
No. I mean, the Texas Rangers are looking like the world champions in this series, and looks like the Royals are going to lose all 3 of the games down in Texas.
It's not good, Bill, and I don't know. You know, what do they do? You know, Contreras tried to switch the lineup. He had Lane Thomas leading off. He moved Vinny down, and we got a total of 0 runs out of that deal. I'm not saying he's wrong, but what the hell's he do now?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
They're in a bad spot. They're out of it. Let's just call it what it is.
They are,
and
definitely.
You know what? If they come back and win 15 straight and they get back in the race, I'll be the first to fess up and say, hey, I was way off.
Well, I did that with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I knew the Chiefs were going to make the playoffs last year. It didn't happen, and boy, for the Royals to make postseason this year, do they have to catch fire?
It's not looking good, and it's too early in the season to be 11 and a half games out of first. It's tough. Too bad. On the other hand, the Kansas City Monarchs are off to a very good start. They're winning. They're as we speak, I think they may be a half a game out of first. They're in second place in their division, so they're doing well. The Chiefs haven't had their training for the rookies and things like that. And Andy Reid said just a couple of days ago that he expects Rashee Rice to be ready for training camp. Of course, he's still in jail as we speak, so he's missing the mini camp, and so. And did you know that he had surgeries? Surgery, but just before that, too.
Yes.
So, he's got to rehab himself in more ways than one.
Yes.
Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce adding his another title. He is now an investor in Major League Baseball. Nope, it's not the Royals. It's the Cleveland Guardians, his hometown team.
The team that he grew up watching and was a big baseball fan. And, I love it when guys go to their hometown teams and say, look, I want to be involved in this somehow. And just having him and Travis Taylor sitting in a suite or in a seat down on the field, just something everybody's going to talk about. And it's a shame they can't come and sit here, because that would be more interesting than talking about the woes of the Royals.
It would. Speaking of which, and I want to bring this up, I was at that 15-1 game, and I was with Davo, who's a big radio personality here in Kansas City. He does afternoons on Mix, and Dave and I have been friends. We worked together for years. And he asked me, he goes, Tone, how long is it going to be before Travis buys into the Royals and with Pat? Next day, it came out that he bought into the Guardians. So,
Yep.
Dave, now you know.
Yep.
It's not happening. Let's talk about my favorite phrase for them is the team that doesn't lose. And you know who I'm talking about, the Kansas City Mavericks, who are just steamrolling everybody.
Well, you know, as we tape this podcast, they're playing the Fort Wayne Comets. They have a 3-1 lead. It's a best-of-7 series. So if they win today, the series does not come back. Right. The Western Conference is finished. They're the Western Conference champions. They'll play the Eastern Conference champions beginning next week. It's going to be the Florida Everblades, who I think have won like 19 straight championships. I mean, they beat the Mavericks, knocked them out of the playoffs last year. 2 years ago, knocked them out of the championship series. But this year's team is special. And I saw something that, I don't know if there's reason for concern. Logan Turness, who had such a great season when he was down here, got called up to the AHL affiliate. Well, their playoff run is over. Logan is back down here, and they placed our boy Jack LaFontaine on injured reserve.
Oh, no.
So I'm hoping that's just to give Jack a little bit of rest if he has, some aches and pains, get those cleared up, because I can't imagine going into the playoffs without Jack. Yeah. But Turness is great. Yeah. Look at what Dylan Wells has done. Yeah. I mean, they had the best duo of goal tenders throughout the regular season, and now they've got the best trio, and it's going to be interesting to see how coach and general manager Tad O'Had handles that situation when Jack LaFontaine is healthy.
Well, next week when we do the show live, we'll have a lot of answers.
Will we ever?
We'll have some answers. The Messi and the Argentinian team arrived in Kansas City today. Yes, a couple hours ago. So, I mean, good grief. I was watching, and I'm not going to mention who it is, but I was watching a local newscast last night. Their lead story was from a liquor store showing that they are going to be selling all these international liqueurs and booze now to make sure that everybody that's coming to Kansas City is happy. Meanwhile, there was a serious fire where 3 KCFD members were injured and in the hospital. But this one particular station thought that the liquor store was just worthy of the lead story. So my point is that, like you say it every week, well, they all got these damn countdowns and all this stuff. Simmer down now. Calm your ass down.
I know it. I agree.
I know the World Cup's a big deal, but gee, Christmas. I'm surprised they didn't break into programming to show these guys landing today. Maybe they did. Hell, I don't know.
Well, I got a feed on my phone, and what's going on.
Yeah.
Messi landing in Kansas City on the Argentinian private plane.
Yes, it's called SWA. That's what I saw.
Yes.
Southwest Airlines. All right. Speaking of the World Cup, every week it's a different. Well, Kansas City ain't done this or hasn't done that. Well, now the Action Network, which is a sports gambling website, ranked Kansas City as the worst World Cup host city for fan experience.
Worst. When you talk about Washington, D.C., L.A., I mean, there's a reason I've selected to live here my whole life. And, I'm never going to leave Kansas City. But if I'm coming over from Europe, and I can go to Broadway, or I can, do all the sites in Washington, or go out and see all the crazily homeless folks and maybe catch a celebrity in L.A., those are going to take I'm going to choose those over Kansas City, and I hate to say that, but
they got the lowest ranking for overall fan experience. Vancouver, Toronto, Seattle, Mexico City, Atlanta, all ranked ahead of us. New York, of course. Mm-hmm. But wait, there's more. It also projected us to be the hottest temperature-wise city of any city.
Oh, man.
What do they think of all this stuff?
I know. I know.
So I hope we do well.
I hope
I'm just trying to put. We want the city to do good. I mean, we want the hotels to be full, and we want people to to think, yeah, this is a great place. So let's hope. Last week there was sad sports news with an NBA player, and this week I was stunned to hear that 4-time NHL Stanley Cup champion Claude Lemieux passed away in an apparent suicide, hanged himself in Florida.
That happened right after they honored him, his team. He
spoke before the championship,
That just shows you how mental illness, we don't treat it the right way. It needs a lot more attention. I've got people close to me who are have battled it. And
Bill, he was only 60.
I know it.
And
I know.
I mean, this guy was, he was a huge star. He played 21 seasons in the NHL, 379 goals, over 400 assists. He had 80 goals in the playoffs. I mean, This guy was a stud.
Oh yeah, he was it. I mean, back when played with the Montreal Canadiens when they led the world in everything when it comes to hockey, and it just broke my heart when I found out that he apparently committed suicide, and that's just a struggle I don't know how you deal with. I really don't.
Well, if you or somebody you know needs mental health resources and support, you can call, text, or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or they even have a website, 988lifeline.org, and that's 24/7. It's just really, really sad. Let's move on. Music and entertainment news. Not a whole lot this week, but a couple things. I was going to say, let's go over who's playing at the Freedom 250 Great American State Fair in Washington, D.C. this summer.
Crickets.
But there's nobody
Crickets,
left.
yeah.
They've all pulled out. I think the only ones that haven't made a comment are, some of your favorites, CNC Music Factory, Vanilla Ice, and Flo Rida. So
now I'm a big Milli Vanilli fan. So
okay, now
they
wait a minute. But I thought one of them died. One of them died. Like
they did.
So who?
How is Milli Vanilli?
A
hologram of Millie playing alongside.
I don't know if it was Milli or Vanilli.
I don't know. I had no idea.
But one of them died.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
And so the other one, come on, you can't make this shit up. Morris Day said no, pulled out. Young MC, the Commodores, and then Martina McBride, who she said, I didn't know this thing was a political thing. Yeah, Martina's from Wichita, and I knew her very well.
Yeah,
took her to her first Royals game. Yeah. And then this week, Brett Michaels said, "Nah, I don't want no part of this." So,
well, you know who the headliner's going to be now?
Who? CNC Music Factory, Millie. I mean,
45 and 47.
Yeah,
president. And former lead singer of,
and I hear he's going to sing.
Oh, I bet he. Well, he's going to dance.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to dig up some cover band of the Village People so he can do his little YMCA thing.
Please, God, you're killing me over here.
Anyway, I know.
All right, so I don't know about that thing. What's going to happen with that? But there are a couple of acts that are available and said that they'd be willing to come. And that would be Buck Cherry and Hoobastank. So they will be on hand to sing with 47. Guess who's joining the new Toy Story franchise? One Bad Bunny is joining. Yeah. Earlier, just a couple of days ago, I heard that Disney and Pixar announced that he's going to join the voice cast of Toy Story 5, which is actually coming out real soon. It'll be out June 19th. And he has a character that is called Pizza with Sunglasses. I swear. Pizza with Sunglasses. Also joining the cast will be Joe Pesci. He will be called Chicken Parm with a friggin' Uzi. So that's your... that's really all that's going on this week that worth mentioning.
A great Toy Story story. The former coach of the Kansas City Mavericks hockey team, Scott Hillman, caught up with me at a practice many, many years ago, and he said, I had the weirdest experience. He said, I took my boys to go see Toy Story 3, and I couldn't sit with them because I was crying so hard. And he goes, now, you can't ever write that. And sorry, Scott, I'm talking about it now. Yeah. But I did, too. I mean, that third one, when the kid gets rid of all his toys, That's brutal. First two of my favorite animated Pixar movies of all time.
It's a great franchise.
It is wonderful.
It really is. New exhibit just opened in Kansas City at Union Station. Union Station's had some great exhibits.
Amazing,
I'm really, there's something we need to be proud of in this town. But it's tells the story of the Cold War through the lens of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be open almost to the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And so tickets are available for that too. They have over 200 artifacts, including 6 original panels of the wall.
There are several panels in President Reagan's library out in California. Wow. And, tear this wall down.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Yeah. So that's open, and it just opened now. New fast food chain that's coming to Kansas City. I've never heard of this, and I guess they call themselves, and they're known for the filet mignon of chicken, and it's called Huey Magoo's. You ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, I guess they're in 12 different states, and they're going to open their 100th location this year, and they're going to come to Kansas City and maybe Independence, right around out here. So we'll We will. And speaking of restaurants opening and closing, Red Lobster's kind of been on life support for a while, and their oldest store is now closed. It was in Florida, in Tallahassee. They opened it in 1970, and they closed it this week. And I didn't realize it. Tony said, yeah, they closed already. The one in Independence closed. I mean, that thing's been here forever. And the one in Overland Park closed. So there's only 2 left. There's in the Kansas City area. One's in the Northland and one's in Lee Summit. So I think pretty soon it's probably going to be dead lobster. It's not going to be around long. It's too bad. But those little the cheese rolls, the biscuits, whatever they were.
I need to buy about 10,000 of those and freeze them somewhere because I love those rolls.
Man, so I'm going to be going to take my little baseball trip here in a week or so, and for the most part, for almost always I fly Southwest. They're not going to be. I'm going to say it. They're not going to be my first choice anymore because it was always because they were cheapest and had the best seating policy. But now, you have assigned seats. They've already changed that. But now they're coming with a new seat, an extra seating policy for, I put this kindly, plus size passengers. Used to be that you had to buy an extra seat if you were big. And they're putting that to rest now. So. But my luck, what's going to happen next week? But forget about it.
I had that going on a flight to England many years ago. Yes, I went over for unfortunately, it was for the funeral of my aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
But it was several months after that happened. I had 2 plus-size people on either side of me, and they lit one cigarette up off another. Longest flight of my life.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I'll be thinking about that next week.
There you go. Cuddle time.
Okay. You brought this up to me earlier. Hey, is President Trump going to sell his new $250 bill for $500? So have you seen the mock-up design?
No, but I can only imagine.
Right.
It's got to be gold. It's got to have an eagle on one side, him on the other. I'd like to see a picture of him flying on the back of an eagle. I think Tony could make that happen.
I'm sure he could with the president's picture on a $250 bill. Now you can make change for your $500 bill. But there might be a problem here. Federal law states that, quoting, only the portrait of a deceased individual may appear on U.S. currency and securities. So
there's so many things I could say right now, but I'm not saying a thing.
There is also a proposed proposal to begin printing the first ever $3 bill. You got any of the $2 bills?
I do. Yeah, I saved some.
Yeah, the $3 bill will depict the face of Mr. Bean. So that'll be out before the year's over too. I'll tell you what's really bad this year: the friggin' mosquitoes already. I mean, they're really, really bad this year. But we got there's some ways that you can get rid of them without having to buy the expensive stuff. These are things that I guess researchers, scientists have proven. Victoria's Secret bombshell perfume. You should have that on hand.
I do. Yeah,
So
I've got several bottles.
let me know how that works. They said it's just as effective as DEET. Vanilla and cinnamon mix is a DIY.
Two of my favorite smells.
So
Aromas.
and that's
Yeah.
what the mosquitoes in Green Valley say.
That's right.
Garlic. Who knew? I mean,
I'd rather-
Italians. Why the hell do we get bit?
I'd rather be bitten by a mosquito than have the smell of garlic around me.
Well, then you're not welcome in our home. The hell with you. There's some ways. There's some other three other ways that I have found out. Very aggressive air guitar. Just think about it. They won't come around. What are you laughing at? Another one, but I only do this. These last two I only do on my deck. A full body net suit. Kind of like pantyhose all the way down.
How'd you grow up with this guy, Tony? I mean,
That
whoa.
that works, and so does this. But you can only do it from the knees down. Immerse yourself in peanut butter. It works. I'm telling you, it works. You can laugh all the hell you want.
Oh, yeah.
But it works.
Some images I'll never forget.
Let's get right to some more serious stuff now. We have a new mayor in the city of Independence, Missouri. I live in Independence. Producer Tom lives in Independence. You grew up in Independence. And things have been, if not stagnant, a little bit kind of, not so great in Independence. It's a great city. Harry Truman's from Independence. And we've needed new leadership. We have new leadership. And he's here with us today. I didn't realize that he was a friend of yours.
Yes, I've known Kevin King for 30-plus years. His son and my oldest son played baseball together forever. He eventually went on, coached the team. And when I heard Kevin King was running for mayor, I need to see a picture of this guy, see if it's the Kevin King I know. And I tell you what, you're going to be impressed after you hear his plans for Independence.
It's Mayor Kevin King of Independence, Missouri. Today we're joined by Independence, Missouri's new mayor, Kevin King, lifelong resident, longtime tradesman, former business manager of Roofers Local 20. He ran as a political outsider, focused on neighborhoods, public safety, transparency. Voters responded in a big way. Now you're leading the city that you grew up in with a promise to be hands-on, community-first approach to City Hall. Mayor, thank you for coming on. Bill and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I've known Bill for quite a long time, and I appreciate the invitation.
Well, he left out the most, best little league baseball coach in the history of the world right there. And my son was home today, and he goes, tell Kevin I said hello.
Yeah. No, I've people know me as I coached baseball for a long time, and along with basketball and football as well, and I had a great time doing that, and it was, you meet people along the way that that you just remember those memories and cherish them.
All right, so you went from the Roofers Union to the mayor's office. Was there a moment, or did it just creep up on you? What made you decide to run?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So, a lot of people don't know this, but about 12 years ago, I was asked to run for mayor here in Independence. And, I had kids that were not quite grown up yet. I say grown up, but
Did they ever grow up?
No, they never grow up.
Look over there.
But the timing just wasn't right.
Yeah.
And then actually about 4 years ago, I picked up a packet to run for the council at large seat. Mm-hmm. And I really thought about it, and just, again, I didn't feel like the time was right. But this time I got a couple phone calls and asked if I would truly be interested in doing this. And I'll never forget coming home, and my wife Christina was there, and I said, "Hey, what would you think about me running for mayor? And she laughed me out of the house.
They say, are you out of your mind?
Yeah, pretty much. But she laughed
And
at me.
she's sitting right over here nodding her head. Yes, that's what I thought.
And she looked at me and she says, you're not kidding. You're serious. And I said, yeah, I am. And she said, okay, let's go. And so we kind of started. And, I had called some close friends of mine, people that I knew would give me the honest to God truth, and just asked them, do I have what it takes to be the mayor of Independence? And every one of them said, absolutely you do. And that just solidified me moving forward, and it took off from there.
It did. So now that you're mayor, and you've had a little bit of time to get out. I mean, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
What are residents telling you when you're out in the community? What are you hearing, either most of, or what are some of the things that you're saying? Yeah.
Well, I think looking back at my campaign, because of some of the things I ran on, was better communication between the council and the city, and building that trust back up with the residents, because I think there's just a distrust there on some of the decisions that have been made. We were talking about it earlier, just for example, moving City Hall from the square and taking that vote in executive session and not allowing the voters to have a decision on that. And those things don't set well with the citizens. And so, I think for us, we just need to be more visible. We need to communicate with them and have those conversations, whether we agree or disagree. And if we disagree, just like this table here, let's sit around the table. We all have that common ground that we can agree to, and then we can work from there. And I won't say we'll get everything solved, but I bet we get a lot of things solved.
When you were running, what did you tell folks who wanted to be on your team and others who were interested in voting on you? And now that you're the mayor, how does that affect your decisions right now?
Well, first of all, I want to talk to the citizens about some of the things that's coming up. I think the other thing is if we do have things coming up, we need to make sure they know about them, because that was part of some of the issues that we had coming up as we talk about things. But the data center was a big player in this election, and I think there were a lot of residents that felt like the lack of transparency and not knowing very much about the project and things of that nature really set part of the tone. I won't say it affected the whole outcome of this, but it was a major player in the elections.
What's the biggest surprise you've gotten so far, that you've run into so far in just these few months?
To be honest, having people call me the mayor.
I saw him at Cable Dom Marine, and I said, Mayor King, nice to meet you. And I was very flattered that he remembered my name.
That's probably the most humbling piece of this, is that, I'm a normal, everyday citizen, just like everybody else, and I'm here to help and try to improve and move this city forward. And I hope in the next 4 years I can do that.
There was something I read about you. You said you were going to publish your schedule. Am I making that up, or is that true?
No,
I thought I read
want
that.
people to know where I'm going to be. I think one of the things for me, and my wife can tell you this because I've drug her all over the city already, and is that if I get invited to something, I want to be there. I think that's part of being, as a mayor, you have to be part of this city, and you have to be involved. You have to be engaged. And this is the way that you meet people, and they get to see you and find out you're just an ordinary, average person, just like you and me and Bill and your son. And
well, Mayor, that's good to hear, because one thing that I learned in school when I was a broadcaster in this city for 40 years, and they would tell us, talk to people, not at them.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe I'm getting from you right now, is that, you want to hear, you want to be part of it. You don't want to be down looking like this at people.
I think that was something that was very humbling to me and felt great, was that when I knocked door to door and talked to people, we could have just normal, regular conversations. And I think people the one thing that people would say is he's relatable.
Yes.
And so to me, that's very humbling, but it shows how I have the opportunity to relate with people that maybe other people don't. I don't know. That's how I feel.
What was Election Day like?
Oh my God!
What time did you wake up? And just take us through a little timeline to when you found out that you were the big upset winner.
Well, first of all, you have to sleep to wake up.
You do?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. Actually, I tried to sleep till about 3:00.
Mm-hmm. Got
up. We actually went and put signs out at the polling places that morning. And then me and my wife took turns. She would be at some polling places, but I tried to hit as many of them as I could, talking to residents that were coming in to vote, because some of them had met me before, some of them hadn't. But it was really neat, because when I would talk to them and I would say, "Hey, my name's Kevin King. I'm running for mayor here," and they would reach in, close to my ear, and they'd say, "I'm voting for you." And so, I really had a good sense. So it started winding down, and we had a good sense that if what we were hearing at the polls was going to be reflective of how the vote was going to come, I felt pretty good.
Yeah.
And we had our watch party at the Firefighters Union Hall in Independence, and it was pretty laid back. We were having a good time. We had Gates Barbecue there, and
good choice.
Yeah, good choice, right? And just having a good time, and we felt like it was going to be close. And when the first set of numbers, which would have been the early voting that came in, and we saw we were only down by less than 60 votes.
Yes.
There were a couple people, not me. There were a couple people said, "We're going to win this." Just because in the primary, the numbers in the early voting really kind of set the tone to the rest of the night, because it was a pretty large margin. And to think that I was 1,300 votes down in the between me and the person and Bridget that I was running against in the primary to win by almost 2,700 votes.
I know it.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of talking though with some of the other candidates and some of the people that had supported them, and saying, "Hey, I'd really appreciate it if you would come to our, come and work with us." And so we figured if we got about 80% of those, plus we could flip some other ones and get some other people to come out and vote, we had a good chance. But, even when the second set of numbers came out and we were up by 1,000, I thought, okay, there's some districts, some precincts that have not come in yet. It's going to get closer. It's going to get closer. And then the next set of numbers come out and we doubled.
Yes.
And I'm looking at my wife and I'm going, "Oh my God,
This could happen.
this could happen." And then to see the last set of numbers come in and widen even more was brought tears to my. It's almost bringing tears to my eyes right now.
Bringing tears to my eyes. What a great Mr. Smith Goes to Washington story.
Yeah.
This stuff only happens in Walt Disney movies and after-school specials. I love it so much. And, as a sports writer at the Examiner for 43 years, I used to always love to talk to state champions, individual track and field champions. When did it hit you? And they're like, "Man, maybe on the bus ride back home, maybe when I woke up." When did it hit you,
Right.
Kevin?
Probably 2 or 3 days later. In the car.
In the car, she's saying.
Oh, so we left there because there was another group that was having a watch party, and that's when it hit me. Because when I walked in, I remember my hands raised up and and everything. But it probably took 2 or 3 days for it to really sink in and just the whole magnitude of the whole thing was a little overwhelming for a little bit.
You brought up the data center, and that that ended up being the issue of the election, at least a lot of the talk just prior to the election. And you supported the data center, but said it should have gone to a public vote. And so we'll address that. But how do you what do you tell the independent citizens and residents how it will benefit them?
Yeah, that's a great question, and let me just address the supporting the vote on that. I support the democratic process to give the people the opportunity.
You wanted it to go to a vote.
Well, I think if it had the opportunity to go to a vote, it should have had the opportunity to go to a vote. Right. Now, I understand it went through the legal process, and we have to respect that, but. It's no different than some of the other things that we get initiative petitions on in the process, and so those are things that I support. What I would say to the people is that if everything works out and we do get the money that's supposed to be coming off this, there's a lot of things that could come into play for the city to benefit the city. Obviously, public transportation is one major issue we have in the city because, quite frankly, we really don't have any public transportation. There's some other things. We don't have a true, really good park system here, and that's nothing against the Parks and Rec department. The money just isn't there for us to do this. Do I have a wish list that's it's like the naughty list and the good list for Santa Claus, right? It goes on and on and on. But but public transportation, public safety is another thing where we really need to make sure that our first responders are taken care of and make sure that we fill all those positions. People want to feel safe on their streets, and getting lighting on streets doesn't sound like a whole lot, but if you have a well-lit neighborhood, it makes you feel a little bit safer. And then we need to figure out ways to help our small businesses grow. Those are the things that revitalize neighborhoods to me. You have those community areas where you have small businesses, and you really need to make it easier for them to come in here to grow those neighborhoods. Independence needs to, not saying that we're not now, but we need to make sure that we're a family-friendly city, and there are certain things that go along with doing that. Parks is one of them. Public transportation is another one. Well-lit areas, sports complexes, shopping, restaurants. I don't like the fact that a lot of our residents go to Blue Springs and Lee Summit to eat dinner. Yep. But those things are all important to growing a community, and Independence is an older generational community, and we need to invest in some things, and we need to think outside the box to bring that younger generation and those families to Independence.
I want to tell you, all of these things are things that we were going to bring up, so that's great. You went first, but I live just off of I live in the Meadow Hill subdivision, which is kind of behind Center Point.
Yeah,
remember where the old airstrip was years ago?
I remember the old airport.
That's where we are. And it's a great neighborhood. It's a wonderful neighborhood, and it still is. We've been there about 30 years. But you get on to 291, and the 7-Eleven's closed, boarded up. Burger King's boarded up. The Dunkin' Donuts is not there anymore. I mean, you know where I'm going with this. And it's like, God. And it's almost like, this city shouldn't be like this. And why is all this happening here? And it gives the impression to somebody coming in that, well, this is a dying city, even though we know it's really not, or we don't want it to be.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit a key spot. We don't want it to be, right? And I think, one of the things is the population has actually dropped a little bit in Independence because of some of the factors that we just talked about. One of the things that I've talked about is getting programs together to help the small businesses, but I've also talked about these owners of these vacant buildings and having conversations with them and asking them, hey, do you want to be a part of growing this city? And if you don't, then let's find somebody that either wants to buy the building, that wants to grow this city. I drove down 291 and, I see vacant building after vacant building. And I think, it's unfortunate with, as we talk here, and I'm looking at all the little bobbleheads in front of me, which is awesome. But, we've got the World Cup coming here in, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And I look at our city and I'm thinking, okay, people coming in from Kansas City that are coming into Independence, you talk about 24 Highway down in Fairmount area, and you talk about 23rd Street and Truman Road. Those things, first impressions say a lot about a city, and it's unfortunate, but we hope that we can get all those areas revitalized so that we can change that mindset maybe coming into Independence that, wow, this is a growing, family-friendly city.
Especially when you have Lee Summit on one side and Blue Springs on the other. And whether it's true or not, you don't hear these sorts of things, and the first impressions of those towns are pretty good.
Yeah. The first impression I get is Lee Summit is, wow,
It's
growing.
growing.
Yes.
And Eastern Jackson County shouldn't have an albatross. It just shouldn't. Not saying Independence is, because I've been there and I'm not moving out. Son's there. He's going to open a business. Bill grew up there. Yep. You grew up there. I mean, it's
Well, I'm hoping, obviously things take time, and it's, these things are not going to happen overnight. But, the other thing is too is, I want to have town halls. I want to get out there so I can talk to the people, because I think I want to hear their feedback on things that they would like to see happen here. But I do think in small businesses we do have the opportunity where there's some programs out there that we could invest in and bring some of those small businesses and get them in some of these brick and mortar buildings to help them grow. But I think we got to have the people in place that want to help them. Obviously something that we've talked about with the city. One of the things I heard, I had a small business roundtable before I got elected, and one of the things that they talked about, and your son may get into this, buying a business in Independence, or is the hindrances. And you talk to one person and they tell you to do this, and then you talk to another person and they tell you, no, you need to do this.
I've only heard that tale about 17 times from Tony.
Yeah, so this is something that we've all agreed on, is that we need to get one liaison for small businesses. That's the person that they directly have contact with the whole time, to get them through the process, to help them out. And I think that's going to be a game changer for us, because one of the things I kept hearing there was, I got so frustrated dealing with the people in Independence, trying to get everything. I just went ahead and moved to Blue Springs or Lee Summit because it was easier to get a business started out there than it was here. Those are, things like that are frustrating, but they're very, very disappointing. That being a resident here and being proud and loving your city, that, we have those struggles. We met with some home builders here just recently as well, and we were hearing some of the same things on their part on licensing and permits and everything. So we're trying to get a liaison set up for them so that we streamline that process too, because this is where I talk about thinking outside the box. I think sometimes we get trapped in that circle. We just have that circle and we just keep going around or stay inside that circle. And, sometimes we just got to think outside the box. What can we do instead of, what can't we do? And I think that mentality and that culture is what we have to look forward to try to change that culture and let people know that, we want you to come here. We want you to be a part of this city. We want you to bring your business here. Come live here, raise your family here. And hopefully we can do that with some of these changes that we're making.
When I talk about circles, it's usually a squirrel cage. It just keeps running around and running around. What do you have to do to avoid that?
I think we still have to have conversations. We have to think. Totally. We have to talk to people and say, okay, what can we do? What are our options here? and put everything on the table. And again, I truly think it's thinking outside the box and having those conversations. If you have an idea, let's hear the idea.
Love it.
And let's work from there. And then, you have plan A, you have plan B, and you have plan C, right? And but let's look at all the options that we have. If somebody has an idea, let's think about it. Let's just not shut the door automatically, but let's have those conversations and see what we can do.
There was one thing when I saw your victory speech that night I was watching TV that night, and the first thing that got to me, and I'm not making this up, is you are a big proponent of support and making public safety a top priority. Namely, you talked about first responders. Now, and the reason why is I wasn't a first responder. I have none of my family currently, but I am the public information officer for Hero Fund USA, which is here in Blue Springs, and through fundraising we provide those departments with protective gear. Mm-hmm. And Bill serves on the Hero Friends board, so we're both heavily involved with that. And I've got to meet Chief Walker and a lot of the detectives in the new building down by where the old hospital was. So, and all over the city for that matter. And I was really glad to hear that. So, do you have or have you begun to put together a strategy to recruit new officers, EMTs, dispatch, things of that nature?
Yeah, I think yes and no. First of all, we have an interim police chief right now with the police department, and first and foremost, we need to get a new police chief in here. Yeah. Obviously, we've got policies that need to be enforced and need to be taken care of, but we also need to make sure that we get the right amount of officers that we need for this city, and I think that's been lacking. For them, the last report I got, we were 29 officers short. That's just not how you operate a city. But you also got to have the funds to do that. And we have some taxes out there, and but again, 29 officers short. We're about 14 firefighters short. We're 19 dispatchers short in the city. So we've got some work to do. I will say this. I think things that are important to me is livable wages, so that we can attract, and having a competitive salary can make a difference with having benefits and everything. But it also goes back to how one of the things that I have tried to do when being the mayor so far is thanking everybody that works for the city. Because they're not the highest paid people either, but something. If you just walk up and say, "Hey, thanks for being here today," or "I appreciate what you do," they really like that, and it makes them feel like they're part of the team. Mm-hmm. And these are all pieces of a team. Yeah. And even though they might be in different departments or have different responsibilities, we're all here together. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand, is that we've got, as a city, we have to work together if we're truly want to bring the things that we want to bring to the city.
There's one other thing you touched on also that I'm glad you brought it up, and that is public transportation. It's funny because I was talking to my wife yesterday, and we were just talking about how we were going to have you on. She says, "You think the mayor might want to talk about public transportation?" She brought it up to me, and I thought, wow, yeah. So there's a lot of things to discuss here, but if we can make it, I'll try to make it concise. Number one, the big picture, equity and access and funding, like you've been bringing up. And so what do we do to make the connectivity, or what's your plan, I should ask you, or where are we going?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, we've got to figure this thing out. But again, our budget is really tight. And so we have to think about ways to grow our budget. And, our budget is based primarily on sales tax. And so to grow sales tax, you have to have business. And so, it all kind of goes in a circle, so to speak. But that gets back to us thinking about how can we grow the city and get out of that, think outside the box and get people here. But at some point, we really have to take this serious. Again, we get back to the population and the citizens of Independence is an older generation, and they struggle getting around sometimes. And with us moving City Hall out to the eastern side of the city makes it more difficult and more challenging for our senior adults to get over there. And so this is probably for me, maybe at least, if not the top priority, one of my top priorities is try to get this in. Now, could it be that we get it in when we start getting money in off the data center? I don't know yet. I don't really want to discuss the money that could be coming in from Nebius until it starts coming in, because I think at this point right now we need to think as if we're not getting any money in and think about other ways that we can grow the economy and grow the revenue and grow our budget so we can get that in place. I mean, it's no different than, we used to have a pool, and Adventure Oasis.
Our son lived right in that street on Ellison Way.
That's something else that is important to the families here in Independence. So, there are other things that we can do. But I also think, too, that if we're going to have businesses that want to come into the city and are asking for incentives for their business, I think we have the right to say, you want to be part of this community, and you tell us that you want to be part of this community, help us out with some of these things and commit to helping us. And I think that's another way that we can look at possibly getting some of these things back in place.
One thing that, as you were starting to talk about, when you were talking about revenue generation being predominantly based on sales tax, what about Independence Center, which I would think at one time, correct me if I'm wrong, had to be one of the biggest public sector generator of revenue for this city?
Yeah. I
was up there, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, and I walked out of there almost crying, thinking, what the heck happened here?
Yeah. That's a tough one to tackle. It really is, because I know they've got new management there, and they have said that they've got some new businesses coming in. I hope that's the case. I really do.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate as we look around, not just in the metro area, but around the country, how indoor malls have kind of fallen to the wayside.
Yes, they sure have.
And so, that's a struggle. Now, I'm going to give you one idea I had with it, and for the sports fans out there, they may like this, but I'd love to see an indoor sports complex with volleyball/basketball courts, pickleball courts. We could still have businesses around there for them to shop. You got Dick's Sporting Goods there.
The infrastructure's there.
The infrastructure's there. The space is there. You could have restaurants inside of there. I mean, wishful thinking, right? Wishful thinking here. But, and I think about, if you had 15 volleyball, basketball courts in there, and you have a major volleyball tournament there, and you have 15 courts going on, and you've got 5,000 to 10,000 people in there watching these games, because the families come in to watch these things, and the amount of money and the tourism, and being able to see the city and spending money there on things. I mean, that's a lot of sales tax that could come in. I'm not saying that's going to solve the problem of the city, but I think it's an avenue. Obviously, whether it's indoor or outdoor, one of the things that Independence is lacking is a true sports complex / community center, however you want to put it all, if you want to wrap it all into one. And we have the land and we have the ability to do it, and we haven't done it yet. And so me being a sports fan, as Bill knows, and I would love to have a sports complex in the city of Independence.
A good friend of mine runs Hy-Vee Arena, which used to be Kemper Arena. When I heard they were putting 16 basketball courts in there, which should also be used for volleyball, I said, no way. I mean, this is where I saw Elton John and Rod Stewart and the Rolling Stones. Come on. The money that generates is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
But look where it is. Where we would have that right in the heart of this city.
it
heart
would
of the
be
city.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you ever want to hook up with him, I've got his number.
I would love to hook up with him
Dude,
and have a
definitely.
conversation
Definitely.
with him.
We'll
Absolutely.
do that.
I think
Yeah.
that is a great idea.
Oh, I love
Mayor's
it. When
just
you said that, I
it's,
thought I've been thinking that forever.
Yeah.
And
really good idea.
I mean, you that literally could be open 24 hours a day, because right now they have tournaments start at 7 a.m. and the last game may be at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
for
just-
you, man. I knew there's a reason I liked you.
I want to ask you a few things.
Yeah.
What's the one thing City Hall's gotten wrong for years, and how are you going to fix it?
Not communicating with their citizens. That's number one by far. And again, how you fix it is you're visible, you're seen, you talk, you make sure you're out there visiting with people. Like, for instance, last night, for example, the Inglewood Arts District had Havana Nights.
I saw it on TV last
And
night.
I'll tell you
I saw
what,
it.
great band,
Saw it.
great people. Just walking around and having those conversations with people, getting to know people that are interested in that. The Arts District can be a very viable area. And
And why I don't understand why Walt Disney's first studio is in Inglewood.
yeah.
And unless somebody who has a booth down there selling paintings or pottery or something, you don't really
Right.
even know about it. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get
Yeah.
any bigger than Walt Disney.
Me and my wife have been down there, I don't know, 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
on third Fridays. which
Fridays,
is-
yep.
I'm telling you, it's a great atmosphere. People are awesome down there. You've got some. We talk about small businesses, but these are people that are working out of their homes to try to grow their business, that are selling things. Great opportunity. We've met some really good people down there over since we've been going down there.
Yeah.
It's really neat. The theater now has got
Yes.
has got a historic designation to it
Yeah.
now. So we're restoring that. A new roof has been put on that by an Independence company, and we've got a business that is looking at moving in next to them at the old Ben Franklin store.
Yeah.
So it is a union stagehand. So they want to bring and start doing their apprenticeship there. So,
nice.
I mean, think about that as you have your stagehands coming in and the theater coming up, and just some of the things that we can partner with between the theater and the union to get that going. And also to again, another opportunity for people from Independence to have the opportunity to have a work source in that, in the Independence area. So
I love that area.
It's a great
the
area.
puppeteer
Yes.
community is right next door to the
Yep.
old Ben Franklin. I
Yeah.
mean, there are some hidden gems. down
there are.
there.
You're exactly
That's cool.
right.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And it's good to see that last night there were a lot of people there. The media
Yeah.
was there, and that's what the city needs.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
What's the toughest decision you think you're going to face in this first year?
Man, that's a really good question, and I've thought about it over and over again. I don't know that there's just one tough decision. I think every decision moving forward is going to have some of them obviously are going to be no-brainers. Some of them are going to be tough. We've got one coming up tomorrow night that's going to be, a tough decision. We have a group that's wanting to buy the Nolan Fashion Square area.
I have.
And
Is it true that they want to move the price chopper over to?
It is true.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is true. They want to move the price chopper from I-70 in
Right.
Nolan area, and they want to move it south down to the Nolan Fashion Square. Nolan Fashion Square has been blighted for years and years and years. And, we've had 250 medical/police calls there. And we've had, unfortunately, we had a death in there.
Oh, boy.
And so those things are tough. But they're, the other thing that we have to look at as a city is, they want incentives to help, and that's great. But we need to look at how those incentives are put together. And I kind of hit on this earlier. These people want to be invested in our community, and they're asking for these incentives. But if you truly want to be invested in the company, let's try to get something in return for the amount of money that we're asking for. Look, I think this one it probably needs to happen, but it's tough thinking about, on a level, the amount of the incentives that they're asking for is 2.5 times what our economic development policy is set at. And so those things are tough, and you have to look at the return of investment on this and those things. And to be quite candid, typically at where our normal is at 20%, we'll get a return of investment about 15 to 20%. But when we get to this point, the return of investment is about 9%. So, does the 250 calls that are going out there and the amount of money that it costs for the firefighters and the police and does it outweigh that cost, or do we truly make a difference? And, I think we have to look at this another way too, because that has turned into a homeless area. And that creates another issue for us, because if they can't go there, they're going to go someplace else. And Independence truly doesn't have a homeless shelter. And I think we have to look at all that thing. So I'm going to say just about every decision we make moving forward is going to, I say this one's going to be the toughest, but then I guarantee you in about a month, we're going to have another tough decision on us, and that might be the toughest. But I think, we really have to think about how this weighs in, how our citizens feel about it. I've gotten several emails over this asking me to support this project, which I like, and have conversations. But as the mayor, I have to look at the whole situation, and I think that's where sometimes we have to have those conversations with our residents so they understand how the whole situation looks and what we look at. So
there's something that Bill and I want to bring up, the both of us. It's an issue that's starting to come to the forefront now, and that's these gas station drugs, Kratom and 7-OH. We've reached out to. And we're really glad you're here. We wanted to ask you about this because nearly every family has been affected by either alcohol or drugs or something or other. And then you have products like this that are available, like we call them gas station drugs. People call them that. And I know that a lot of the municipalities around the metro, namely Overland Park, we were talking about, right, just last week, about or the state of Kansas, I should say, has put some restrictions, and the Missouri legislature is doing that. But there are also municipalities that you see what the city of Kansas City is trying to do with shot glass bottles and things of that nature. What's your feeling on these products, and what we can do to either get rid of them or put some restrictions on them? By the way, before you answer that, we have reached out to the owner of American Shaman, and we've yet to hear back from him. I hope he does, because he believes that these are not dangerous products. And we're not going to take a side here, but we kind of are.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about just what I know, because this is this is a tough one. But the city of Independence passed an ordinance recently that banned the kratom with 7-OH. Yes. The other thing that they did is they raised the legal limit to buy it, and they also require them that it has to be behind the counter now. So they put this in there, and they passed the ordinance. They gave them, I think, a 30-day window to get that. So they have to be behind the counter. But they also it also comes that they are required to have a license to sell. And so it's a $500 fee. So there's some things that are put in place in Independence now. And that 30-day ordinance or 30-day window should be coming up here pretty soon. Look, I understand everybody. This is a tough one, right? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know enough about Kratom or the 7-OH and the derivatives that come along with that. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that the city has put measures in place to try to help this.
And that seems to be in line with what we're hearing from other municipalities too. So it's starting it's starting to take shape, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
What do you want Independence residents to hold you accountable for?
Everything.
That was easy.
I think. I mean, seriously,
A one-word
everything.
answer that says
I
it
love
all.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I do the best I can do for them and for our city. And look, if you're not happy with what's going on, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. But, I want to be held accountable for my actions. And if you don't like it, if you don't like something that I stand for or I'm against, let's have that conversation so I can understand your reasoning, and I hope that they understand my reasoning. And again, I talk about this all the time. Let's get at the table and let's talk and start from there.
Tony, I've known Kevin for a long time, and driving here today, I'm like, I hope this goes well. Kevin,
What do you think he was saying on the way over here?
Althouse is involved. It's going to be all messed up. No, I thank you. This, eye-opening. You're what a politician should be. You're going to be great for this community, and it's just such an honor to trust us to have you on as a guest.
No, I appreciate it. And, like I said, I've known you for a long time, and we go way back. And even back then, I never thought I'd be in the position I'm in because I don't consider myself really a politician. I'm just I try to be common sense and try to think through everything. And my wife will probably argue with me on that end of it. But, I'm looking forward to the challenges, and I hope that we can move the city forward. We've got some businesses that are coming into the city. Obviously, Nolan Fashion Square. We could have some development over at in Boulder Square where the old J.C. Pennies used to be.
Yeah, sure.
I've had a couple conversations with some developers that are interested in coming here. We've got the opportunity of 500 plus housing coming into this city. And so there's some great opportunities out there if we can just get everybody. We got to take away the hindrances.
Yeah.
And we got to say we're open for business. We're open for you to live here. We're open for you to raise your family here. Come join us. Come be a part of this.
I was going to ask you one last question, but I think you just answered. I was going to ask you, if everything goes right, what's Independence going to look like 5 years from now? I think you covered quite a bit of it, but I'll ask it anyway.
Yeah, a growing community, a community that is involved in the city, that feels like they're a part of this city. That's important. Yeah. That they feel like they're part of this city and that they're heard, that they're listened to, and they feel a sense of vibrancy and a family type atmosphere.
Mayor, thank you for coming in here today. I mean, I think we firmly believe that you want people to be a part of this Independence government and in the future of what this city has been and what it can be. Yeah. And we really appreciate you sharing your vision with us today.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to be here. And if anybody's got questions, please reach out to me. It's Kevin King at indepmo.org. Call City Hall. Ask if you want to talk to me. I mean, I'm open. I try to reach out and talk to everybody. I get about 100 emails a day, so it is a struggle sometimes getting all the emails answered, but I love talking to people, and I hope that they feel like they want to come up and have a conversation with me, because that means we're engaging the community.
Mayor Kevin King, Independence, Missouri. Thank you.
You.
Appreciate you much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So there's the new mayor. He's a friend of yours.
Yes,
and
he
I'll
is.
tell
I'm
you,
proud of him. I am proud of Kevin King.
You know what? Me too. I'm very impressed with the mayor, and I'm actually very excited to be still living in Independence and seeing what this gentleman can do.
Yeah.
And you know what? Why not be behind him? And when he starts doing his town hall meetings and stuff. Let's go.
I'd like
just
to.
go
Yeah.
as
I'd like to.
citizens. Want to remind you guys too that all of our full podcast episodes, you can always find them on YouTube and Spotify, and you can hook up with us and watch the reels on TikTok. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. Please like and subscribe, and if you feel like commenting about, especially what the new mayor had to say, feel free to do so. Share if you would like. We want to thank our sponsors, Sandy's in Blue Springs, also Over the Top Roofing, and Vito's Original Pizza. Want to mention one thing, too, that our next episode will be a live broadcast. Please come and come out and hang with us, and it's going to be Sunday, June 7th. It'll be at Sandy's in Blue Springs on 7 Highway. It is their annual barbecue, car show, and food drive. It's their kickoff to their summer lunch program. These guys provide lunches for hundreds of people. And so this is the kickoff to the summer lunch. They would appreciate if you do a cash donation. It's not mandatory. You can bring canned goods, individually wrapped chips or snacks. It will benefit the You Matter movement and the summer lunch program. That is Sunday, June 7th at Sandy's, the barbecue, car show, and food drive live podcast, and that will begin at 4. So we will see you then. Please come out, bring your family and friends. It'll be the live edition of Bill and Tony's Excellent Adventure. That's Bill Althouse. I'm Tony Stevens. We'll see you on Sunday.